Hello and welcome to another I Love Dentistry show. I am Curtis Marshall along with my co-host Rob Bay, the aka Numbers Geek. How are you today, Rob?
I'm doing good, Curtis. Glad to have another show and glad to have some great people with us.
Yeah, I'm really excited for today's show. As you can see, the title is Stop Paying for Dental Insurance. That's an interesting, I hope that sparked your interest a little bit, but we're going to go into that. I've got two experts. One of them is Corinne from Dr. Brown's office. She's the office manager. Corinne, how are you today?
I am doing great. Thanks for inviting me on today.
You're welcome. Give us a quick background of how long you've been in dentistry and what you do.
I have been in dentistry for 30 years, and I have been in this particular practice for 8 years, and I deal with insurances and patients and overall run the practice on a daily basis.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad to have you on and your expertise.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We also have another expert, Mr. Dan, Dr. Dan. How are you today, Dan?
I'm doing great, Curtis. Thanks for the invitation and having me on today.
You're welcome. Please give us your background as well.
Sure. My background is as a dentist, practicing dentist, and what we most recently did was in 2009 I transitioned out of practice and we started a company called Quality Dental Plan. And the mission of Quality Dental Plan is to develop alternatives to dental insurance that practices can implement in their office to solve the question that we hear on a daily basis, which is, can you recommend insurance for me? Or I don't have insurance. Can I come see your office? Or I'm losing my insurance. I can't come see you anymore. Rather than go through a third party, why not have a plan that you control yourself and offer directly to your community? So what we did was we founded that company, and here I am with you today.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. Well, let's just jump right into this. Oftentimes we've talked a little bit more about who we are, but we're going to jump right in today. And so let's start off with insurance. Why did insurance get started? Why did this whole insurance pandemic get rolling within the dental field? I know a lot of dentists are frustrated with certain insurances, HMOs, PPOs, all of the different insurances out there. But why did it get started? As far as a numbers aspect, Rob, maybe you can help us have a little clarification of why insurance was started.
Well, I don't know the history, Curtis, but I can understand from a numerical standpoint, you know, that people like the idea of paying a certain amount all along the way, and then if they ever have a major need, having somebody else come and essentially bail them out to a degree. And so I would guess that that somebody, some business person saw an opportunity to provide that insurance, where they could collect and they could benefit from those monthly payments, and obviously those monthly payments are more than the total amount that the insurance company is paying out because they want to make some money as well, but provide some ease of mind, I guess, for patients, rather than patients being a little more disciplined, I guess, with the way that they were going about their dental care.
Yeah, exactly. There's multiple reasons on why they got started, but as you said, as far as a numerical standpoint, that's exactly why it got rolling there. Corinne, on your end of insurance, Rob mentioned that one reason for insurance is out there is to bail out the patient when they have a need and they're not able to pay for it. Is there a conflict you see with insurances and that bailing out concept of the insurance?
There is, I think it's more on the patient part, a misconception for the patient, because they look at their benefits and feel that the insurance is going to pay 100% for all their treatment, which of course we all know that they don't. And so I think it's more on lack of education from the insurance company, which in turn we end up educating the patient on their insurance benefits.
That is so true. It's amazing how often individuals do not understand their insurance, and they think that insurance is insurance, whether it's car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance. And there's a few things with dental insurance that are quite different than anyone else, like the max that you can use in a year. Typically, it's $2,000 or less with an insurance, and they don't realize that. So if you need to have 4 crowns done, you don't have any room for preventative. You don't have any room for anything else, except for to get just some work done there. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we move on?
Sure. Curtis, if I can just expand a little bit about both what you and Corinne were saying. Dental insurance, if you compare it to medical insurance, really isn't insurance. It's just a defined benefit up to a certain amount. It's not catastrophic, and it's not comprehensive. And the benefit level really hasn't changed since the 1970s. So in the 1970s, someone can get $1,500 of benefit, and it can go a long way, maybe a full mouth reconstruction, where in today's dollars, that $1,500 benefit can maybe get you a crown in the filling. So when people look at it, like you said, they think it's insurance, and it's going to cover everything that they need. Like if someone goes to a hospital and needs a hip replacement, once they reach their deductible, everything else is covered. Dental insurance does not work that way at all. And so how they get away with calling it dental insurance, I'm really not sure, because it's really just a defined benefit. And I think that is definitely some of the confusion that's out there with the public. And one of the reasons why we need to ask ourselves, why have it in the first place? The idea behind it is
good. That's a good question. Do you have an answer to that? Oh.
I wish I did. In my way of thinking, as a dentist, I would rather keep the relationship between my office and the patient rather than have a third party that is part of that relationship as well. Because really, it creates more work for us in trying to determine what types of benefits are available, filing paperwork, and increasing our costs. And then the patient is kind of left in the dark because they don't really understand what their benefit covers either. And as a practitioner, if there's a question that happens or some procedure that isn't covered that's done, it's usually the dental office that gets blamed for it rather than the insurance company. And so from a practitioner standpoint, if I could have more people that are part of my office without a third party being involved, it makes our lives easier, it makes our care easier to provide, and it makes the relationship that much better.
Yeah, even within any business, under promise, over deliver, right?
Yep.
That's the key for customer service. Well, insurance does just the opposite of that. It overpromises and underdelivers. How many times? I mean, I came from a dental office, working in a dental office for 4 to 5 years, and I had to educate patients all the time. In addition, I told them, okay, your insurance is going to pay this much of the bill. Comes back and they turned up to only be paying this much because of a multiple of factors, but they paid less. So I've got to call up the patient and say, you've got, I just overpromised and underdelivered. How do you like that? And so I agree with you, Dan. That is a very frustrating thing, and one of the many reasons why we titled this "Stop Paying for Dental Insurance."
Yeah, and I completely agree with all of it. And again, why are we paying for it? If we look at just the numbers and the business aspect of it, anytime you have a third party that comes in to a relationship with 2 other transactions, that third party needs to make money. And if that third party needs to make money, where is it coming from? It's coming from somehow the other 2 parties in the transaction. So if you can eliminate that third party from this triangle and pass the savings down to both the practice and the patient, it's a win-win for the entire relationship. That's the way I look at it. So if we look at it from a business standpoint, that third party is making money off of the other 2. So in healthcare, and specifically in dentistry, we have to look at what are they doing for that money? Is it necessary for them to have to earn that money? And if not, how can we develop a better model to save people who are actually involved in the transaction and the delivery of care to make it more affordable for everyone?
Yeah, Rob, Dan just mentioned that follows on the same concept as you're mentioning of that third party. They're wanting to make more money and needing to make more money. Is that something that can be solved through any other way other than is that need of insurance, providing insurance the typical way we've known, provided any other way without the third party making money and taking the money from the consumer or from the dentist?
Well, I guess the patients could be more disciplined and take the same amount of money and put it aside, or be involved in an HSA or those types of programs to be able to essentially insure themselves.
I lost you there for a sec.
Oh, can you hear me?
There we go.
Hey.
I got a little slow connection.
I don't know how much of that you got. You know, I'm definitely not an expert in terms of insurance, but I would think that a patient could use some discipline and take that same amount of money that they were going to be paying into insurance and set it aside, or utilize an HSA or some other type of program. And by doing that, essentially they themselves are able to cut out that middleman, and ultimately they're the ones that's ending up having to pay the extra money, more than what's actually needed or required, because they're paying the money to the insurance company. The insurance company is then paying the dentist, and then the patient themselves is having to in turn pay the dentist more money for the portion that's not being covered by insurance. So and you know, and like Dr. Dan said, some of that money that they're paying to the insurance company, and then the insurance company is then paying to the dentist, is being retained by that insurance company. So hold on to it, or use an HSA, some other type of program. I think that they could. I think that there's some things they could do to hold on to some of that money.
I was hoping you'd get taken in that direction because of the number aspect, and I know you could do that. But myself, I'm not one of those people that necessarily could save up money knowing to possibly pay that out in the future like that. Corinne, when your patients, is that something you feel like most of your patients could do?
You know, I guess it just depends on how dedicated they are in doing that. Some patients, I think, you know, the older, wiser patients, probably yes. They seem to be, you know, a little bit more in that direction. I have patients that are retiring that come to me every day. You know, I am losing my dental insurance. I'm looking at this plan, or what do you think? And it's all just sitting down with them, going over the numbers. Is it wise to get a new dental insurance plan, or is it better just to save your money?
Awesome.
And so I get those questions every day.
Save your money. Save your money.
Yep.
I agree.
So with all this, then, so we've kind of talked a little frustration about the patients and also the background on where insurance started. With the dental practices, what would it do for a dental practice that didn't have to deal with insurance? Let me go ahead and start with Dan with that one. Dan, what would it mean to a dental office if they didn't have to deal with insurances?
Everybody would be a lot happier on a daily basis. I can tell you that for sure. You know, in my practice, we were fortunate enough that I was busy enough at being a clinician. I didn't have to deal with all the insurance headaches. I had a great team to deal with that, but I would see the frustrations within them, and it helped us to go ahead and develop that better way than dealing with insurance. But those frustrations, as a business, it costs money. There's administrative costs to filing pre-authorizations, filing claims, following up on claims when you've submitted everything and they say they never received the claim. Even when it's submitted electronically, saying they didn't receive an x-ray when it's submitted electronically, and then waiting for payment to come in. It's cost businesses money to wait for payments to go ahead and come in, follow up on these claims, and deal with the hassles on the daily basis. I just heard a dental office that I'm friends with that, you know, somebody's scaling and root planing was denied from an insurance company when there were 6mm pockets with calculus present, even on the x-rays. Really? I mean, denied? I mean, that's classic case of I don't know what they're doing, but a classic case of the hassles that you come up with. And a lot of times, some offices, they don't want to fight because it's exhausting. It's exhausting going after this over and over and over again. So as far as what it would do if insurances were involved, you'd have a lot happier team members on as part of your office. But from a patient relationship and standpoint between your office and the patient, I think that this process can be a lot more streamlined and more efficient for everyone.
Totally agree. Corinne, what about yourself?
If I didn't have to deal with insurance on a daily basis, I would be doing a happy dance. I agree with Dan. The process somehow has to be streamlined. I go through the daily struggles every day, dealing with these insurance companies that they haven't received the e-claim or they haven't received the x-rays. And so, yeah, there has to be a better way.
Yeah. I see two big benefits to having insurance. Does anybody want to maybe shoot at a reason, a benefit for doctors? We're talking about doctors here. One of two benefits that would be good for a practice.
Well, I mean, I can say from my standpoint, we accepted insurance. We accepted a couple of PPOs at our office, and the reason we did it was people wanted to use it. People had it. They had a benefit. Someone was paying for their health care. So those employers that were paying for employees' health care, some of the employees wanted to use that. And so it enabled us to go ahead and see those patients. If we look at the reasons why people don't go to the dentist, the number one reason is cost. Well, if people are handling that cost objection by having insurance and they want to go to the dentist, well, then you as a dentist, if you're accepting that, you'll see those patients who want to use that benefit that's already being paid for. So as far as an office, that would be of a benefit to us. We're, again, accomplishing our mission as a dental office by seeing these patients.
That was one of them. Providing a service, the service that's wanted out there. Another reason, maybe somebody might get something else that I'm thinking of, but what's another possible reason? Rob or Corinne?
I think in general you probably have an increased case acceptance because the patient is viewing the fact that somebody else is going to be covering a portion of that cost, where if they had a problem or something that needed to be fixed or solved, and they had to come up with all of that money out of pocket, they may be less likely to do it.
I didn't think of that one, but I've thought of it in the past, but that wasn't one of the two. Thank you. Corinne? Why would you want insurance?
I would say just the increased case acceptance.
Okay.
Any patients look at it as, and I try to tell them, any better benefit is better than no benefit, so let's use it. Let's not waste it.
Yes, right. I agree with that. The second, so we got three: case acceptance, providing a service. The third one and this is really how insurance got started, was marketing. Why else would a doctor discount his fees multiple dollars for a crown or for any of his services, except for to get new patients or more patients? When insurance was first introduced this new concept to dentists, because it was new for dentists, they were having a hard time having people accept their fees, the fees of the dental insurance. And the way that they said that was, oh, we're going to get a whole bunch of companies to get their patients, and we're going to send those patients to you. You're going to be on a provider list, and so the marketing, I say, would be another one along those same lines. So those are some good reasons to accept insurance. But as we can tell, there's as far as the scale, it looks like it's a little bit lopsided here. Especially if Corinne would do a happy dance regarding if she didn't have to deal with insurance. So what's the future? Where we need to go?
So Curtis, what are some things that dentists can do then to minimize that impact in their office? I guess that's really a lot of my question.
Let's start with Dan with that.
Sure, and that's a great question, and I think we have to look at it from a consumer standpoint. People out there, they think they need insurance, they want to have insurance, and so from our aspect, what can we do to provide them with that peace of mind? Because that's what insurance is giving them in the first place. It's that peace of mind. So when we look at the consumer, And as a dental practice and accomplishing our mission for taking care of the community, what can we provide them to give them that peace of mind? In our office and in our business now, we took the idea of keeping the relationship between our office and the patient without third-party interference and developing a low-cost alternative to dental insurance. We called it Quality Dental Plan. And what we did was we went ahead and created this plan with the idea that everybody needs preventative care, but not everybody needs restorative care. In dental insurance, people are paying into this whether they use it or not. In our Quality Dental Plan, which we call membership program, what we do is patients pay for the membership, and in that membership is included their preventative care for the entire year, but also they access savings on restorative care if they need it. So they're only paying for what they use and nothing more. This saves the consumers dollars. It also saves us money from a business standpoint because we don't have to deal with the administrative costs and the hassles of dealing with a third party. So from our standpoint, offering an alternative that makes sense both dollar-wise and also from a practical sense of getting that standard of care, it was a win-win. And so for us, developing this company, we work with practices all across the United States now, hundreds of practices that have successfully implemented this alternative and offering it to the community, which allows them to diversify their patient base away from being a majority insurance. Just for an example, in our practice, we had a 70% insurance-based practice, 30% fee-for-service when we started this. Within 2 years, we dropped that to a 35% insurance-based practice and a 65% fee-for-service practice. So we decreased our administrative hassles greatly. We had a lot more fee-for-service patients coming in, and the practice was a lot happier because we weren't dealing with dealing with all those problems that that insurance has. So for our standpoint, it's offering an alternative, but the alternative needs to make sense to the patient. It needs to make sense to the practice. Give patients what they're looking for. Give them peace of mind.
I think that's one really great. Thank you, Dan. One great answer to your question there, Rob. Would you like to share any insight on as far as that question is concerned?
You know, I think that's a great response. Also, you know, something I've seen a lot of offices do and be very successful with is financing treatment for patients. Improves case acceptance. They're able to minimize to a degree a lot of their risk by charging a portion up front and then allowing a patient to finance that over the remainder of you know, or some type of time frame. I think that also is a great option or alternative, assuming a practice can afford to take a portion of their payments over time and don't need it right now.
Corinne, would you like to jump in on this topic as far as what can an office do to help with the insurance issue? What can an office do to help with this epidemic we're seeing with the insurances?
Well, I basically think it's, you know, educating the patient. And I know we have to take time because it's not really our responsibility to educate the patient on their insurance, but if we don't, who's going to? And so I think that by educating the patient, offering them, you know, a great discounted plan if they don't have insurance, and allowing them to carry a little bit of it over time if they need to, and it's on an individual basis. It's not that you're going to carry everybody in your office. I think it all works, all these things all work in order to help your patient base grow and keep your patients within your practice.
Yeah, I think education is definitely important. We often talk about the four-letter word within a dental practice as a sale, selling the patient, when in reality that's what we're doing. We're selling them we want them, our professional opinion is for you to get rid of this decay. And we want to sell you on that versus you getting sold on something else. Oftentimes people think of sales as a dirty salesman who gives them something that they don't want. But what about the time you went to the local grocery store and you saw a great display of Oreos, let's say, and you grabbed one of those things of Oreos that wasn't necessarily best for your health, but you wanted it, you loved it because of the way they sold you on the display, or whatever it is. If it was buying your new pair of shoes, or with to kind of wrap up with our conversation here. Where's the future going? Where are we going as far as insurance? Is this going to continue with all these Humana and Delta Dental and all these different insurances out there? Is it going to stream more towards the benefit end that Dr. Dan was talking about? Is Obamacare going to be jumping into the mix? Where are you seeing, as you three professionals in the dental field, where do we see the insurance heading towards in the dental field? Let's start with Rob. Rob, where do you see it going?
I know that insurance is a big business. Insurance is one of the, in general, if you look at insurance, it's one of the largest business sectors in the world, and will likely continue to grow. So I don't know what the future holds, but I can't imagine without some concerted effort being in an environment without it. But I think that there's a lot that can be done to minimize it individually.
Awesome. Yeah, especially in individual offices and with the patients. Absolutely. Corinne, where do you see it going? Where are we heading? Where do you see within being in the office?
You know, I haven't quite decided where it's heading. You know, with all the new changes after the first of the year, with all the new, you know, Healthcare Act and that, and the employers getting rid of their insurance for their employees, and so the employees are having to seek it out. I haven't really quite decided where insurance is going to go this year and what's going to happen with it. My goal here in the office is just to make sure that the patients stay informed, and I keep them up to date on, you know, what is going on, and help them where I can help them.
I love how you keep going back to the educating the patient, because that truly is, if we want to service them and also to get their to do treatment with and have case acceptance, it's all about education. So thank you. Dan, shining moment here. Where is the future of insurance going?
Well, right now, I think as far as insurance in dentistry, we're at a crossroads. Okay, we have the opportunity to have, as dentists, have a more active role in determining what the future is going to be. But as dentists, a lot of times we're so involved in the practice, working in the practice, that time doesn't allow us to go ahead and focus outside of the practice to make the changes that would be benefit to the profession and to the patients. And so I think you know, looking at the future, the more that we can offer alternatives to the public that the public accepts, you know, like Quality Dental Plan I was talking about, where you're keeping that relationship between practice and patient, you're going to be able to control more of that, of the future of where this is going to go. Now, insurance itself, as when we talk about it as a whole, insurance is a very good thing. I mean, we've all used medical insurance for great reason. But in dentistry, dental insurance, like we talked about, really isn't insurance. It's just a defined benefit. So as we move forward, what is that going to look like? When we hear of not stories, but when we hear of what happens in states like Washington State, where Delta Dental cuts reimbursements by, what, 20%? And practices that have a 90% insurance-based practice take that hit and still have to deal with all those hassles, that's not a sustainable model. Not for the practice and not for the patients, because they're increasing premiums as well. So we're starting to see benefits decrease, hassles increase, and that's not something that you can continue on in the future. I think if dentists take a more active role in providing their communities with alternatives, I think the future is going to be bright.
Agreed, and that's one good thing that I love about dentistry, and is that it's entrepreneurial. You're able to think outside the box. You're able to affect the dental community within your small practice. You're able to make a difference within your small practice that you have in any town, USA, or wherever it might be. And that is what I love about dentistry. That's why we started the show, was for that reason alone. And so, as a tradition, we all like to say what we love about dentistry and end it with that. That's what I love. Curtis Marshall sharing you what I love. Why don't we go next to Rob. Rob, why do you love dentistry?
Couple things I love about dentistry, and I have to jump off, Curtis, after this. But one of the things I love best about dentistry is the fact that it's an amazing business. That you've got somebody that's gained a lot of education. It's in the clinical area, and they're don't necessarily have the opportunity to get a lot of business experience or business education. But by and large, these people are business owners. And it's exciting, it's scary. But one thing I love about dentistry is the fact that somebody who has an aptitude and can put some focus and learn to lead their practice by numbers and use information to be able to make decisions will be far more successful than somebody even who's the greatest clinician in the world. So I love that fact that dentists with all this expertise and experience and knowledge can learn something new to be able to add to that aspect of their business, and by doing that bring increased success, satisfaction, financial success, etc. to their life and to their practice.
From the number geek himself, Rob, thanks for being on the show with us today. He definitely knows numbers and is able to help a lot of practices. Corinne, what do you love about dentistry?
I just love what dentistry can do for people and our patients. And so that's basically why I'm here, is what can I do for our patients?
Well, that shows that you are everything that you've been mentioning today. You really love your patients, and your patients are lucky to have you as their treatment coordinator or office manager, whichever you want to be called there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Dan, what do you love about dentistry?
Quite simply, one word: the people. It's everybody. It's the patients that hug you after their treatment's complete or have a tear in their eye when they see their new smile. It's the ones that bring you vegetables from their garden to thank you for the great work, or seeing them on the weekend for an emergency. It's your team members that dance with you throughout the day, whether it's the business team or the clinical team, to make the practice function at a high level. When you see that happen, it's better than the best dance that you'd see on Dancing with the Stars. It's the dentists themselves who take pride in what they do, who deliver a quality service, because patients don't realize what quality dentistry is. And those docs that take the CE, they take the courses, they improve themselves so they can provide a high level of service to their patients. It's everybody involved, the consultants, the industry leaders that we have out there, everyone that's working to make dentistry what it is and keep raising that bar. It's the people. I have to admit, it's the people.
We're lucky. This is a unique industry. So if you're not loving it, take these things that we've taken today and take them into your lives. You'll start loving it again. Check out our other shows. They should be below you here. Or you can check out ilovedentistry.org if you're watching this on YouTube. And until next time, I'm Curtis Marshall and Rob Bay, and continue loving dentistry. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.